Jacob Young had one of the more intriguing seasons for your Washington Nationals. He will likely win the Gold Glove as far as center fielders go, but is he a true building block for your Washington Nationals? Let's discuss after this.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on Twitter at RyanClary11, as well as the show page at LO_Nationals for all your latest Nationals news and notes. Make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And of course, search up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts. Later on in today's show, we've got a preview of Game 3 tonight with Walker Buehler going up against Clark Schmidt of the New York Yankees. And the Dodgers, they are up 2-0 against those pesky Yankees. And of course, Juan Soto has been carrying them to this day, and they simply cannot get a win. Aaron Judge is ice cold. We'll have that preview for you a little bit later on in today's program. The second segment, it is a Make It Make Sense Monday. Make this make sense. How does Victor Robles go from doing absolutely nothing to then going to the Seattle Mariners and killing the baseball and turning around what seems to be his career at this point? Make that make sense. We'll have that discussion for you after we talk about Jacob Young and answering the question, is Jacob Young a sincere building block for your Washington Nationals? I don't really think so. I'll discuss that after I tell you guys about today's sponsor of the show, which is FanDuel. And you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. So we get started discussing Jacob Young, and of course, I just answered the question for you. I don't think Jacob Young really should be a big part of this future for now. Here's the thing with Jacob Young. By value, he actually was the most valuable player that the Nationals had on paper. Looking at all the stats, all the analytics, from his offense to his defense, he was your Nationals kind of MVP this year. He is likely going to win Gold Glove for center fielders this season. He might win the Platinum Glove as well. He was that good defensively. But at this point in time, Jacob Young, what he lacks is any offensive damage. Jacob Young hit 3 home runs this year, and when you are Jacob Young, you don't really expect him to hit for power. That's not his game. Jacob Young's game is to get on base and wreak havoc on the base path when he does get on base. But here's the thing. It's when he does get on base. Having around a 330 OBP for my starting center fielder for hopefully the next 5+ seasons, that doesn't really cut it for me. And some people may say, well, you should cut him a little bit more slack considering that he is a Gold Glove caliber defender. And you're right, I probably should. But one thing about me is I will not look past your offensive stats in the year of 2024 and going into 2025. Baseball is about offense now. It just is. It is more valuable than your defense. In my opinion, it always has been. And in my opinion, it's going to get that way even further down the road. You have to value offensive guys first. The thing with Jacob Young is he's so good defensively that it's hard to just say, yeah, we can bench him. He'll be a 4th outfielder. He can't be. He's way too good in the outfield. He has way too good of an arm. He is great in the outfield. In my opinion, he was the best center fielder in all of baseball this year defensively. And the numbers showed that. But I'm not ready to marry Jacob Young and have him be my starting center fielder for the next 5+ seasons. I'm not there yet. And the reason why I'm not is because of his on-base percentage. Having around a 330 clip on the season wasn't really doing it for me. Yes, in that time frame, he also stole about 33 bags this year. That's great. But still, you need more production from a center fielder from an offensive standpoint. I don't think Jacob Young can provide that for you today. And that is where my main issue lies today. I'm not 100% sure where Jacob Young will be down the road, but I'll tell you this much. I'd be a harsh GM. If I'm Mike Rizzo this offseason, you all know you need to acquire talent, whether that's in free agency or the trade market. You're going to hate this. I'd consider trading Jacob Young. I would. I think some teams out there may consider him to be a lot more valuable than what we do here in town. Some people may say, well, if we can get his OPS to around a 700, hit for a little more extra base hits, get on base a little bit more, tweak his swing a little bit, I think we could work with that. But here's also the thing. If you can get him to get on base at a 350 clip in 2025 and beyond, get his OPS to around 700, his defense is that good where I can live with that. In the day of having a DH now in the National League, you can do that. Having your ninth hitter, your second leadoff guy, be a blazing fast runner on the base path, a really smart base runner as well, and a great defender to be a subpar kind of average hitter, I'll live with that any day of the week. But the reality of it is, I'm not sure if we can get there. And if Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez are not 100% sure in Jacob Young really making that jump, then I think the time to trade him might be now. And not just trade him for young lottery ticket prospects. I would not do that. That's not what I'm saying here. But I think what the Nationals should do, if you do want to go out there, and let's say you want to go for a Garrett Crochet type, starting pitcher for the White Sox, under team control for the next few seasons, a potential ace for this Nationals team, left-handed pitcher, nasty stuff. If you want to do that, I think Jacob Young would make a lot of sense to try to put in that package alongside with one of your top prospects to try to get one of those guys, one of those kind of ace sort of pitchers in this facility. Because the Nationals, they need that. And I'm not entirely sure with Jacob Young playing a Gold Glove caliber defense, being a very good utility kind of guy, I guess you could say, will be of value to this team down the road. He reminds me a lot of the Web Gem machine, Kevin Kiermaier, who is great defensively, but can never get the job done offensively. He was a great player down the road. He had a long career. I think Jacob Young will as well. But in today's age, I'm not sure if the lack of offense will really be able to match up with today's game. And I think the Nationals could find more value out there and search that via the trade market. Just think of it this way. If you were to ask yourself this, would you rather have Jacob Young and let's just say a Seaver King? I don't know what it would take. It would probably take a little bit more, but I'm just throwing this hypothetical out there. Or would you rather have a Garrett Crochet? An ace, starter, going to be with this team, the organization for the next, hopefully, 10 plus years if you get an extension done with them. That's what I would like to see. But I will also say this. If the Nationals do believe in the fact that they can get Jacob Young to be just about an average major league hitter, forget the power. That's not going to come. He'll hit 3 to 5 home runs for the rest of his career. That'll be that. But if you can get him to get on base at a 350 clip, have someone steal 35 plus bases, possibly even 40 really easily, then we're cooking here. But sitting here today, I don't know if I can necessarily buy into Jacob Young getting to that point. I've seen it with him. He's great. He's a great defender. He's going to win the Gold Glove, and he should win the Gold Glove, by the way. But if it was up to me, is he going to be a big part of this future? Is he going to be a building block for this team? I'm not ready to put him in that conversation just yet. And I think some people may say, you're crazy. And I might say you're right. But at this point in time, I need offense on this team. I think you can find that and supplement that through free agency. Or if you don't want to go the starting pitching route, trade for a veteran bat. Get them in the building. We'll discuss that a little bit further down the road in this offseason as we inch closer to free agency and the winter meetings here. But until then, Jacob Young is a part of this Nationals team. He is a part of this future, and we'll see what the Nationals decide to do with him down the road. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Next, let's tell you guys a little bit about Make It Make Sense Monday. This is a new little series for this offseason on the Washington Nationals. Make It Make Sense. And today, we try to make sense of Victor Robles. You all know him. Some of you hated him. Some of you despised him. Some of you liked him for being part of the 2019 Nationals team. But he was a controversial figure here in town for quite some time. And make this make sense. How did Victor Robles go to another team and make a dramatic impact on the Seattle Mariners? Make that make sense. And not only that, push them to potentially being in a spot to make the postseason baseball this time around. We'll discuss that and try to make it make sense. But before that, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends over at PrizePicks. And of course, PrizePicks, the best place to get real money, sports action, and with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. And of course, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. And PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, Texas, and my home state, Virginia. PrizePicks puts its member first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that is code LOCKEDONMLB. Now we get back into it with a Make It Make Sense Monday. And if you are new here, first off, welcome. Second off, subscribe. Locked On Nationals, wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, again, wherever you get your podcast. But a Make It Make Sense Monday, we just kind of have fun here on the show. We try to make things make sense. Because let's be honest, not a lot of things make sense in the year of 2024. So we try to make sense of it. Victor Robles. How does Victor Robles go from a failed prospect, a failed top prospect, a failed, at one point, can't miss prospect, to a solid contributor on a good baseball team? Make that make sense. Here's my thing. I think it's a lack of confidence that the organization showed that I thought was pretty compelling. That kind of hit Victor Robles in a place where he probably didn't want to get hit too much. Here's the thing with Victor Robles. I think we actually kind of forget this. Victor Robles, at one point in time, was a legit top 5 prospect in baseball multiple years over and had a ton of hype coming into that 2019 rookie season. In 2019, by the way, Victor Robles was not bad by any stretch of the imagination. He was a good baseball player. He was really good in center field. He made some errors and some mistakes here and there, but overall was really good in 2019. Batted .255, a .419 slug, a .745 OPS. He hit 17 home runs, had 65 RBIs, 28 stolen bases. He was 3 home runs off of having a 2020 season. That's how good Victor Robles was that year. But since then, I mean, it has been a lost cause, to say the least. But this year, in 2024, the Nationals DFA'd him. He had a .401 OPS in 33 plate appearances. It was bad. It's been bad the last few seasons. We all knew that that time was going to be coming. But then he goes to Seattle. And the Mariners claim him. And all of a sudden, in 77 games, Victor Robles, the defensive errors were gone. He batted .328, had a .393 OBP, a .467 slug, which was a career high by far, and an .860 OPS, again, career high. Not only that, 4 home runs, 30 stolen bases in those 77 games, a career high in stolen bases for Victor Robles. Make that make sense. I've always said this, and I'll say it again. Baseball is a mental game. It always has been, and it always will be. I think the lack of confidence that Victor Robles had in himself here in DC, the lack of confidence that the organization had in Victor Robles as well, and also the fans. Here's the thing about Victor Robles. He was such a polarizing figure here in DC. And not for the right reasons, by the way. For all the bad reasons. The errors in center field. We saw that. The errant throws. You saw that. The bad plate appearances where he'd just come up there and swing at a ball that was like up to his chin. We saw that. The lack of plate discipline. We saw that every day. What happened to Victor Robles? And people who are saying, how could the Nationals give up on Victor Robles? You had to. I mean, again, it was what? 5-6 seasons fully of Victor Robles where we saw every single day that this guy was a car wreck waiting to happen for 162 games. That's what we saw. And back in 2021, when the Nationals sent him down to AAA, we all knew that was kind of like the end of the road for Victor Robles. Because let's be honest. If Victor Robles, let's say that he had his 2019 slash line, batting a 745 OPS, and let's say he also improved. You could have made the case for the Nationals being a postseason team in 2021. I think if Victor Robles panned out for your Washington Nationals in 2020 and 2021, the road that we have been on of this rebuild probably would have changed a little bit. I truly do believe in that fact here. Victor Robles, now, with those numbers in 2019, if he carried those on, would it have changed that much? No. But let's say he did turn out to be that power hitting kind of guy playing center field every single day, a 5-tool kind of talent that we were all expecting. Let's say he did pan out to be that. It would change the road of where the Nationals are today. You would probably be talking about trying to re-sign Juan Soto this second. You would also probably talk about the fact that you need starting pitching in order to help this team win. And in 2021, where the Nationals at one point in time, early on that summer, were only like a game and a half out of the NL East chase. They're also like a game and a half out of the wild card race as well. They were flirting around 500 baseball that season, even with all the COVID stuff, the injuries that they had to deal with in town, the lack of production over at third base. The Nationals were going through it. And if Victor Robles did pan out to be that top 5 prospect that everyone was saying, you cannot trade away Victor Robles, you cannot get rid of this product, he was probably the missing piece to that Nationals team right after the 2019 World Series. And I think a lot of people forget why we were like, well, it's okay. You can have Anthony Rendon go. You have a top 5 prospect with Victor Robles. At that point, obviously lost his prospect status after playing an entire season in 2019. But still, he was a young, promising impact player that just helped us win a World Series. People were high on Victor Robles. We thought he was going to be the next big thing. And in fact, it did not turn that way. So, how can I make it make sense that he goes to the Mariners and just balls out and puts on display for everyone to see? I can't. I cannot make it make sense. But here's also my thing. I don't think this is going to be the Victor Robles for the duration of the future. I don't think he's going to have an 860 OPS. I don't think that he's going to hit over 300. I don't think his slug will be at 467. Victor Robles, unfortunately for himself, will probably get in his own way eventually. And I'm rooting for the guy. The time to move on was this season, obviously, for us. You had to. We've seen it enough. But at this point, if Victor Robles pans out to be the guy that, the Mariners think that he could be for them after giving him a little extension also during the season, then the Nationals, we just whiffed on one of our premier prospects from back in 2019, and that would suck to think about for the next 10 years. But thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's preview tonight's Game 3 of the World Series. You've got Walker Buehler against Clark Schmidt, and the Yankees are down 2-0 to those Dodgers, and Shohei Ohtani is going to play tonight after having a weird shoulder injury, after stealing a base, sliding into second. We'll have that discussion for you after we tell you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. And of course, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. And you get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And again, that is FanDuel.com. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com, and download America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So Dodgers, Yankees, the World Series that a lot of people have been waiting for quite some time. If you're a baseball mark like myself, I mean, this is what we have been waiting for. Two of the biggest organizations in the sport going head-to-head in the World Series. Two of the biggest spenders in Major League Baseball going head-to-head. This is an awesome series. But up to this point, it has not been so awesome for the New York Yankees. Game 1, Freddie Freeman walked off with a grand slam on Friday night and just shushed the entire Yankee crowd that was there at Dodger Stadium. I mean, it was an incredible moment in extra innings. Freddie Freeman has been through a lot, and here as Nationals fans, you know Freddie Freeman. The guy has a feel for the big moment. He came in the clutch and got the win for the Dodgers in Game 1. And then in Game 2, Juan Soto, our boy, down 1-0, goes in, hits the moonshot solo bomb. You knew it was gone off the bat. He pimped it. He was celebrating, as he should, but ultimately they fell short. Carlos Rodon of the New York Yankees, again, he's like their Patrick Corbin. You never know when he's going to be clicking, and you never know when he is just going to be one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball. He was not one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball for Game 2, but he was not good. Garrett Cole pitched really well in Game 1. Really pretty solid overall for him. Rodon just gave up a stinker in Game 2. So tonight, it leads to a must-win for the New York Yankees. They are back in the Bronx. Clark Schmidt on the bump against Walker Buehler. If you're a Yankees fan, you got to feel good about Clark Schmidt going tonight. He has been one of your better pitchers all of postseason so far, and even during the regular season, had a great year for them. Walker Buehler, on the other hand, he has been here before. He's been in the World Series. He has pitched in big moments. He has done it all. But he is not the same Walker Buehler from years past. He has been battling with injuries the last few seasons. And Walker Buehler, while we say all that, he did actually go out there his last start and look really good. So we'll see ultimately what happens. But I've got the Yankees winning tonight and getting it to 2-1. And then tomorrow you've got Game 4, which should be interesting to say the least. So I will catch you guys on the flip side. Enjoy the postseason. Enjoy the World Series, as it's a matchup for the ages. I will catch you on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.